Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. We're gonna talk about the version 3.1.0 patch notes. Usually I don't really talk about the patch notes, but this is a really big one, and let's just go through it without wasting time. So first off, as says here, they did a lot of changes. They also include some adjustments to recent DLC's Splatfest. There's also Crab Tank nerf, which caught a lot of attention to many Inklings. So, see, they did change it to DLC, added some data related to ink goblins during Splatfest. What this means is they're gonna add, I think, the new song that was out. That's what to release that it's gonna play in Splatfest. Let me double check real quick. It's named Liquid Sunshine, which is played by the Squidsters. Also featured Big Man. Yes, Big Man. Surprising that. So that's cool. I heard the song really good. Now we're gonna have 3 different songs that will be playing during Splatfest. That's cool. They also adjusted the points awarded for each category for the Splatfest final. So the one they added the most was Tricolor. It went from 15 to 18. So that's a significant. That's a lot. Even though the points total is still 57 points, I think the biggest one's gonna be Tricolor. So that's gonna be a huge one. And the ones in here is what we're here for. Change to multiplayer. Here is some weapons that they're gonna change. So there is a lot to talk about. So Sparshine Nova got a buff. Movement speed while firing is now about 10% faster, and ink splatter will now fall around the player's feet more easily. Good buffs, good buffs. I mean, damage for this weapon is still terrible, but all in all, I think again, the weapons there just to like support, not there to be aggressive. Luna Blaster and Luna Blaster Neo increases the radius of the explosion area that deals 70 damage by about 50%. No changes to the radius of the area that deals 50/0 damage. What I'm assuming is either it will do 70 damage or more, or you have to do 70 damage or more to have that increased radius. But so far it says 70 damage, either 70 damage exactly or more than 70 damage. Who knows? But all in all, I think this is a pretty substantial buff for Luna Blaster, but we'll see. Big Swig is getting another buff. Adjusts the damage fall off rate based on vertical swing distance, making the amount of damage fall off more gradually than before. Due to this change, the distance where 100% plus damage can be dealt was extended by roughly 15%. And the distance where 50 plus damage can be done was extended by roughly 49%. Now, that's pretty big for Big Swig. It got the big buff last patch notes, and now it got this. I mean, we'll have to see how it goes. Really, we'll see if Big Swig roller gets some plays. Really. Alright, next up is Sniper Rider 5H. Maximum damage has increased from 60 to 68. Solid buff to Sniper Rider 5H, but I don't think it's in the best spot right now. I think it just needs another kit, to be honest. Slosher and Slosher Deco adjust the damage fall off rate when a player attacks someone vertically lower than them, makes it more difficult for damage to decrease. Due to this change, the minimum amount of damage dealt to an opponent will be 50. So it looks like the max damage you would do when you, I guess, when the fall off damage, it will do just maximum of 50. I don't know if this is a buff or a nerf, really. I'm assuming it's a buff. We'll just say that. Might be wrong. Mini Splatling and Zinc Mini Splatling increases fire rate duration by roughly 70%. That's really good. This is given to another Splatling that doesn't get much play. The other Splatling that was given like the duration, firing duration was Nautilus. Now it's given to Mini Splatling. I mean, I feel like Zig Mini Splatling is a overall solid support Splatling. Mini Splatling, we'll have to see. Like I said, I did read the patch notes before. Dapper Noval shorten the amount of time it takes for a player to be able to act after a dodge by roughly 0.06 seconds. That's not bad, but it's only for, I don't know if that's a big change. We'll have to see in game for it. Splat Dualies increases the dodge roll movement speed, shortening the amount of time it takes to move by roughly 0.6 seconds. So this is the same thing as Double Dualies, but they also have the increased dodge roll movement speed. Ooh, okay, nice. And last but not least, Reflux 450. It made the angle of diffusion narrower depending on the amount of charge, making it easier to focus on attacking a single area. Movement speed while charging is now about 10% faster. Again, solid. So that's a lot of weapons that got buffed, but you know, a weapon class that didn't get buffed. Any more guesses? Splat Brellas. This game is almost a year old, and they haven't buffed Splat Brellas. When they're gonna buff Splat Brellas? They need a buff in the next patch, please. That weapon is, that class is like collecting dust at this point. Jesus. Alright, we got sub weapons. There's only 2: Angle Shooter and Burst Bombs. Angle Shooter roughly doubles the radius of ink splatter that occurs when it hits terrain. That's pretty interesting. So it will double if it hits terrain. Again, it's gonna be another one of these sub weapons that we want to see in game. Burst Bombs increases the amount of ink consumed by a standard ink team from 40 to 45% if the player doesn't have the Ink Saber sub ability equipped. The amount of ink consumed when the max number of abilities are equipped will not change. So now what this means is, it seems like you're basically forced to have Ink Saber sub because of the ink consumption going from 40 to 45%. That's what it looks like. Again, I think that's a pretty good nerf, considering that Burst Bombs is really good, and it's on many of the most annoying weapons, one of them being Splash. And last but not least, we get some special weapon changes. And I see in the bottom we got Crab Tank and Kraken Royale, which we'll talk about in a bit. Ink Vac increases the radius of the outer perimeter when vacuuming up ink by roughly 10% to cover a large area than before. That's really good. I still think Ink Vac is a very good special if you know how to use it. I like the special, but now with this, I think that's gonna be pretty significant for it. Tacticooler increases the initial setup speed when throwing the Tacticooler by roughly 33% to enable it to be set up farther than before. So you could throw it even farther. That's okay. Roughly doubles the horizontal radius of the area where players can drink a beverage. Man, they're really buffing up Tactical. I think the last patch notes or 2 patch notes before when they buffed up Tactical was that they canceled the whole respawn Punisher, which that's really good. And now the fact they have this, you know what? Maybe weapons that have Tactical could be pretty useful now. Instead of just launching it in your feet, you can now launch it more farther. I think that's really good for like weapons like Snipe Rider, Dynamo, the Anzap. I mean, okay, that's pretty good. Reef Slider. Oops. Okay, Reef Slider increases the amount of damage dealt from 60 to 70 when getting caught in an explosion at long range and increases the radius of the area by roughly 17%. It also increases the radius of the ink splatter from an explosion by roughly 21%. Hey, Tetra players, I mean, that's a really big buff to Reef Slider. Dude, Tetra might get a lot of uses now. To be honest, I mean, come on, Tetras are going to be the only weapons with the Reef Slider special that's going to be used mostly. Maybe Dapple Duties after that small little change, but Tetras is most likely what you'll see with Reef Slider. That's pretty good for Reef Slider. Inkjet increases the radius of the explosion area that deals 50 damage by roughly 43%. No changes to the radius of the area that deals 30 damage. So I guess this is only proc if you deal 50 damage, looks like. Okay. Strengthens the jet of the ink that comes out when pressing B. Enables player to jump higher than before. I think this is what inkjet needed, because when you most people, when you use inkjet, you just get a small little boost. Now we'll have to see how high than before. That's a win for inkjet. Now I think inkjet might get some more uses, I guess, because I think inkjet was like one of the worst specials right now. But I think, well, not right now, before, but after the recent buffs it got, I think it could be like pretty usable now. Ultra Stamp. Now this is the one I really want to see. Increases the radius of the area where a player can be damaged from a shockwave of continuous stamp by roughly 43%. That's a significant increase. Improves the turning performance when doing continuous stamp attacks, making it easier to change direction. Dub right there. When doing a continuous stamp attack, the stamp will now be displayed as a translucent on the user screen, making it easier for them to see where they're going. Another dub. That's really good. Can't believe they're really doing this after what? It's released from Splatoon 2. I mean, dude, with Splatoon Wiper just roaming around, this is like one of the hugest buffs it will ever receive from Ultra Stamp. The one thing I do think it will be missing from this is invincibility from the front. Overall, I do like this. This is really good. And now here are the big ones. Crab Tank and Kraken Royale. Crab Tank. Introduce an interval where players can attack for roughly, or when players cannot attack for roughly 0.33 seconds after returning to attack mode from mobile mode. This really good, because it's annoying to deal with crafting is when they go into their mobile mode, just protect themselves, and then after that just go to attack mode and instantly attack. That's just very annoying to deal, very hard to deal with. That's good. They also increase the amount of time to take for players to act again after the special ends. What that means, they're going to be vulnerable after craft take ends. That's going to be good. I remember, I think Pro Chara talking about this. They should add like something when you destroy crafting, but I think this is like it's sort of similar, so I think that's really good. Kraken Royale made it easier for a player to be pushed back by an enemy attack in tower control mode when the player is on the tower. Oh my god, thank you, thank god. You know how annoying it is to deal with a Kraken in tower control? You can't, it's hard to knock them back. Good. Made it so that, and then they also made it so that a player will drop all their clans at power clamps whenever they are whatever they are when they use their special clamors mode. I never encountered this, but I did see a lot of clips which made Kraken absolutely broken in clam blitz. Just go and Kraken, be protected, have the clam, the power clam, and then have your teammates super jump to you next to, like, it's just insanity. They also did some changes for some gear abilities. So sub-resistant damage from burst spawns and fate spawns will be reduced more than before, even with just a few gear abilities. The damage reduction from equipping the maximum gear ability will not change. And then opening gambit. Now opening gambit is one of those abilities, it's just you become like really like yeah, I'm very strong for like the first 30 seconds. After that, it's just a useless ability afterwards. If a player splats or assists in splatting an enemy while this ability is in effect, the effect will be extended by roughly 15 seconds instead of roughly 7.5 seconds. Made it so that the intensified action gear ability will also occur when this gear ability is in effect. This effect is equivalent to 3 primary gear abilities. So if opening gambit is for the first 30 seconds, and if you splat or get an assist on an enemy, which will extend to roughly 15, that means you get 45 seconds. I mean, that's solid. I mean, it's pretty solid. Points required for some special weapon has changed. Carbon Roller Deco from 200 to 190, and 96 Gal Deco 200 to 210. It was expected for this thing. This kit is so stupid. I'm really surprised it's only 2 weapons this time. I felt like you also could have had Splash from 200 to 210, but you know, it is what it is. And they also have the sound effect for an opponent crack a barrel are now easier to hear from a distance. They also changed some salmon runs. That's what they usually talk about. I was gonna, if you guys want to pause it here and read it, I'll leave it to you. And then a lot of bug fixes. I won't talk about that. If you guys want to read it, and just go pause. And they also did some fixes in multiplayer and salmon run. So if you guys want to read it, I'll pause it right here. And pause right here. But yeah, I think this was really good patch. There's a lot of weapons that needed buffs, gets the buffs. Well, except Splat Gorillas, I guess they just hate that class for some reason. Buff some specials, nerf some specials, and fix some specials. I mean, really good patch notes overall. What do you guys think about these patch notes? I'll leave it on the patch notes in the description if you guys want to check it out. And yeah, that's it for the video. There'll be a new video will be up either tomorrow or Friday, so be ready then. And yeah, that's the end of the video. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.